Suddenly, everything stops. 1,000. 1,000. How many seconds did it take for you to pull out your phone? Perhaps you even looked at your phone during the 5-second ad that appeared before this video. Well, you're not alone. The average person uses their phone for over 5 hours a day. In this video, you'll learn why it is so hard to put your phone away. To gain an understanding of why you look at your phone, we need to first understand 3 key parts. You'll need to know why you do an action, the benefits that you feel that you get from your phone, and finally, you'll learn some secret tricks that apps use to make them so addictive. Actions. First, let's talk about actions. We do them all the time. Every single morning, you'll brush your teeth, comb your hair, and take a shower. These tasks aren't any less complicated than others, but you do them automatically, without any thought. But why? Why are some actions so difficult and others so easy? What makes them that way? You wake up in the morning, bright and early. You make yourself some eggs, toast maybe. You bathe. You put on a pot of tea. It's a lovely morning. But then, when you go outside, fantastic. Now you have to go get your neighbor and drag him out there to help you get your car started. Your whole day, no, your whole week is ruined. Pause. What made your morning go from great to horrible? Jump-starting your car is frustrating, not because it's technically difficult. I mean, you can do it, but rather because it's outside of your routine, has expensive costs, either socially or monetarily, and it has no positive reward. You just get to go to work like you normally would. Well, now we know that these 3 aspects make us resent doing something. But what would be the opposite of something we resent? What is something that we enjoy doing, we do every day, and has positive rewards associated with it? That's right, your phone. Well, one of the best predictors for what you're going to do today is, well, what you did yesterday. This is especially true if it feels like the action was pleasurable and fulfilling. That is where the habit comes from. This leads into the next point. What do social media and Candy Crush do to give you that feeling of pleasure that you get from using it? Benefits. Nuggets of addictive rewards. I'm going to talk about phone usage as an addiction. It fires a lot of the same neurons, and the reward structure is fairly comparable to physical addiction. I would like to take a moment to recognize the very real physical and life consequences of a substance addiction, and I want to make explicitly clear that I'm not comparing the two to downplay the severity of one or the other. I believe it's important to understand this fundamental circuitry and see how it manipulates us into using drugs, alcohol, and TikTok. The consequences are vastly different, but the mechanism is actually quite similar. As previously mentioned, the brain only wants to do things that it deems are valuable. Think of your favorite social media, Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram. What good things do you get from it? You'll probably come up with a few legitimate answers, whether you like to look at puppy videos, like to laugh at memes, or you like to look at photos of your friends on vacation. These are all valuable and good, but now I'm going to ask a kind of confusing question. What is the average feeling you get from looking at TikTok every single day for a year? The average feeling. That's a tougher question. At any given moment, how do you feel while you're scrolling? Deep down, are you satisfied with what you're doing? Are you being fulfilled? Are you getting deep meaning? Are you wasting your life? Jessica, she looks so pretty, she's out having a great time with her friends, but you? You're just at home watching The Office for the 12th time. These are the type of thoughts that dig deep into your mind, while a laugh is just a passing thought. At the end of a year of constant stimulation, whether it's from a Charli D'Amelio dance video, a Logan Paul rap video, whatever that kid does, but whatever it is that you're watching, your mind will likely tell you that you're inadequate in comparison to the content that you're consuming. And after a long time of this constant stimulation, you're often left with a feeling of inadequacy, emptiness. Maybe you disagree, but for me personally, it was very toxic to my self-image. Every time a pause would happen, I would feel the need to reach for my phone and pull it out as quickly as possible. 1,000. 1,000. 1,000. So we get a hit of dopamine every time we pick up our phone. We feel good. That's the true reward of social media. You may think you like using Facebook because you get to look at photos of your friends and family, but actually it's a physical mechanism in your mind that rewards you every time you open Facebook. That's why it feels good. It's not the content, it's a literal reward your mind gives you for looking at the content, not the content itself. Practically, the point is pedantic, but it's important to understand the distinction. Now, you know why you feel good using social media, but where does that feeling of dissatisfaction come from that I was talking about earlier? The reason that you feel bad is best explained by Daniel Kahneman. He's a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who wrote the book Thinking Fast and Slow. That principle is what you see is all there is. What you see is all there is means that we're biased based on what we see. That may sound obvious. Perhaps I should explain more. All of the information that you take in from social media is doctored in some way. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't necessarily malicious or anything, but it certainly happens. Everything on social media is just not reality. It isn't. Even if it's just an innocuous picture, let's say of a party, you will instantaneously compare yourself to the people in that picture. It's automatic. It happens without thought. Your brain doesn't realize that it's not actually happening in front of you. Even if you think that Jackie's a bitch and you wouldn't want to be at that party even if you were invited, you'll still compare yourself. Comparison is where most dissatisfaction stems from. It's all about how you frame it. When you watch Messi play soccer, you feel severely inadequate in your ability to play soccer. But what you're not realizing is that you're the best player in the state. Even just the best player on your team sounds good enough for me. But because you're comparing yourself to the greatest in the world who has millions of dollars of trainers and staff on his side, you still compare yourself to him. We take everything we see as it is. And so therefore, we suck. We're not cool enough. We don't take into consideration that that picture of the party was a week ago. You get biased into thinking that everyone is doing awesome stuff all the time. The truth is that the most popular and famous people are doing just about the same amount of stuff as you. They're mostly just chilling and working. But in your life, you see all the ups and downs. But for theirs, you only see the highlights. We compare ourselves to the images we see, and we pay the price. That is where the feeling of inadequacy comes from. Now, let's move on to the final point. Addictive. Why can't I stop? Phones, when you first pick them up, are filled with so much joy. When you first open Twitter, you see a funny meme about SpongeBob, you see a cool trick shot video, it sucks you in. Everything you see is funny, interesting, or cool. You'll see the same meme format or even the same meme day after day, but you'll keep coming back. Not only will you come back for more, but if I reached through the screen right now and took your phone, you would be worried. Not because of my magic powers, but because you are psychologically attached to your phone. Say you reach for your pocket like you normally do to grab your phone, but oh no, it's not there. The feeling of dread will pass over you instantly. You will drop whatever you're doing to go find your phone. At the end of the day, your phone is important to you. The importance comes from the value your mind places on it. The dopamine drip that you get from your phone is constant. It may be subtle, but it leaves you feeling satisfied and coming back for more. Even if you didn't see anything you liked today on Facebook, tomorrow you might. So you'll come back again. But where does that feeling come from? Why does it feel so good to look at photos of others' vacations or spend all day on Reddit, letting it be your guide? Well, everything that is extremely habit-forming has all or most of the following components. The barriers to entry are low. There are rewards. They come early on and they decrease over time. They have a goal to aim towards. They are easy to use. And lastly, they have a social aspect. Now I'll go through each of these aspects separately so we can understand the components of what makes us coming back for more. Goals. Goals are powerful motivators. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy, without a plan or the technology, said, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." Many historians would point to this speech as the reason that many Americans supported the Apollo program. Goals give us a point to aim for. They allow for humans to do what we're best at. Planning. If you don't have a goal, it's hard to make a plan. Goals are something to strive for, and since we're a hierarchical species, we thrive under these conditions. If there is nothing to overcome and no ladder to climb, we simply crumble. Now we'll move on to the next aspect. Low barriers. Many years ago, when Facebook was still relevant, they changed the home screen to include a sign-up box. Back in the old days, before browsers memorized all our passwords, we had to manually log in on the Facebook homepage every time. But on the homepage, there was this giant sign-up box that took up the whole screen. This addition seemed very odd to the regular user. But that's the thing, it's not for the regular user. It's not there to look pretty. It's there to make it as easy as possible to get started with Facebook. You would think adding just one extra click to the sign-up process wouldn't make that much of a difference, but you would be highly mistaken. More than 80% of the people in the state of Montana sign up to be organ donors. That's the highest in the nation. In 2013, Vermont had an abysmal percentage of only 4% of people signing up to be organ donors. The difference was simply in how they asked the question. Now, I can already hear the argument you're thinking of. Well, the good people of Montana are just more kind and generous than the people of Vermont. Those damn Yankees just don't understand kindness. However, it's just not true. By the year 2017, in only 4 years, Vermont's organ donation rate increased by over 10-fold. By making just a few small changes, Vermont's donation rate went from 4% all the way up to 50%. Now you may be wondering if there was some multi-million-dollar ad campaign to make the Vermonters more charitable. But no, all they had to do was change a few simple things. In the state of Montana, when you're at the DMV signing up for a license, that's where they ask you to be an organ donor. So in a form that you fill out with all the other stuff that comes along with the driver's license, there's a simple checkbox. And what it says is something very simple like this. Check this box to opt out of being an organ donor. Most people will not check that box because it's easier. The simple action of checking a box is enough of a roadblock to sway most people. And you may be wondering what happened in Vermont. Well, it used to be extremely difficult to be an organ donor in Vermont. In Vermont, you couldn't just sign up at the DMV like you do in Montana. It was a whole separate process and you had to volunteer yourself to do it. That's a lot of extra work to get somebody to do. All Vermont had to do to increase their donation rate by 10 times was add a simple checkbox. But even still, that checkbox was less effective than Montana's. For the Vermont checkbox, you had to decide yes or no. That makes it more complicated than a simple opt-out method. This means it's slightly more complicated and people are less likely to sign up. Bottom line, people are lazy, but they'll sign up for something if it's convenient to do so. Next we have rewards. Rewards help make something addicting because that's what gives you the good feeling that you get. Rewards also aid in making something addictive because they're the part that makes us feel good. We talked about that dopamine hit earlier. I'm going to oversimplify this, but rewards are a thing of value that we want and often others also want. Think of a reward as a like on Instagram or a laugh that you get from TikTok. Rewards are things that you get, like a gift. Video games do this exceptionally well with experience points, level ups, awards, trophies, all of the above. But you can also think of it like a sports competition. At the end of the season, the best team gets a trophy. That's a reward. Rewards are things that feel valuable and we get to keep for ourselves. You get a feeling of joy when your tweet gets a lot of likes, or you laugh at a post on Instagram. But what is the dark side of these rewards? Another thing your brain will do is equate your value to the numbers that you see on the screen. Your self-worth is determined by the number of likes you get. Your brain will automatically equate your self-worth to the value of the rewards you receive. To make this clear, think of two kids, Winston and Sarah. Winston got a good grade on his spelling test, a 90%. Not too shabby, kid. For this achievement, he got a gold star from his teacher. Sarah, on the other hand, she got an 80%. No star. Now think about how these two kids feel. There was only one question difference in their performance, but the way they feel is quite different. They're both decent spellers, but the reward changes how they feel. Sarah may not feel bad, but she would definitely feel better if she got that star. And Winston, he's probably going to work harder next time on the spelling test to make sure that he keeps getting more gold stars. And the crazy part is, Sarah might even resent Winston for getting that star. It's just a sticker. This is a simple example, but rewards work way more often than you think they would. The problem is, it's not all gold stars and smiley faces. Think about the last time you made an Instagram post and it totally flopped. You posted a picture of the campfire you were sitting around and it got less than a dozen likes. You most likely felt bad. It's very hard, if not impossible, to not get your self-worth tied up into these reward structures. Like I said, it's automatic. It's happening whether you want it to or not. And the way that these games and apps get you hooked is they give you a big reward early on. As you learn to use the platform and you gain more followers, every single post you make will get more and more likes. The problem is, over time, those rewards will get smaller and smaller. Your expectations will continue to rise, but you're unlikely to gain as many followers as you did when you first started. Even though you're getting the same amount of likes you did when you first started, over time, that same amount of likes feel less satisfying. After 4 years of being on the same platform, you may still be getting the same amount of likes, but you'll definitely not feel as good about those same number of likes. Anytime a post gets 4 extra likes, you'll fawn over it and feel extra good about yourself. But the opposite is also true. If you post something that gets 4 fewer likes, suddenly you're 4 points less valuable as a person. It's just like nicotine. The first time you hit a vape, you may cough a bunch, but you'll still get a nice buzz from it. And the cotton candy blast flavor is not so bad. But over time, that buzz gets less and less, which counterintuitively will make you use nicotine more and more. You're chasing the initial high. Now, onto the final key to addiction, the social aspect, having friends on Facebook. Humans are social creatures. Most things that have value and we find fulfilling involve other people. Think of the most meaningful moments from your life, the best of times and the worst of times. Both ends of the spectrum probably involved others. We place a lot of value in other people, and social engineers use this tribal aspect against us. They will put Shaq in an Icy Hot commercial to transfer the good feelings you have towards Shaq towards their brand. The point is that a lot of our feelings come from the feelings of others. This goes back to the value that we talked about earlier. It seems simple because it is. You feel good for getting a like on TikTok because somebody else expressed admiration for you. So when somebody likes something you posted on social media, it makes you feel good and increase your self-worth. It may not be genuine. If you see a teenager on Instagram, they'll be scrolling through and every single post, they'll like every single one. So they don't actually evaluate the post and think about if it was a good one or not. They just do it because it's the social expectation of their peer group. But the genuineness is irrelevant. You can't tell the reasoning behind somebody liking your post. A like is a like is a like. Think about it this way. If someone smiles at you and says, "Have a nice day," their intention behind saying that is irrelevant. What matters is what you think about it. What matters is what you think their intention was. If John never smiled at you until the day that he happened to need help with his math homework, you're far less likely to help him. A complete stranger comes up to you and asks you the same question, you're way more likely to help him than asshole John. The action itself doesn't actually matter. You'll have a different reaction from different people and in different situations. But anyways, back to the point. Social media makes us feel wanted by a community, which is a key need for humans. However, this is not adequate support. Ask one of your Facebook friends to help you move. That ain't gonna happen. Where are we now? We've now gone through all the parts of what makes us not able to put our phones down. It's because using your phone is a habit that you formed, and that comes from using your phone yesterday. The phone itself provides what your mind sees as valuable, and that value is misguided in some sense. This is because of the tricks that social media uses against you. But perhaps you're left with a feeling of being attacked in some way. Practically everybody is addicted to their phone in some capacity. This video simply provides a structure of understanding so that you yourself can explore why you use your phone so much. Maybe it even made you think about using your time in a different way. Regardless, if you made it this far, it seems like you like my content. Perhaps subscribe. And while you're here, leave a like and comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.